When we have large amounts of data, conditional formatting is a great way to visually show what's happening with our data and show some of the trends within our data. So let's take a look at an example. Within this data set, we have 5 different production lines and we have data from January through June. I'm going to go ahead and select the data from cell A1 over through G6. On the Home tab, we can select conditional formatting. So there's quite a few options that we're going to go through. We're going to start with probably the most common, which is the color scales. Within color scales, we can show the magnitude of our data. The most common is typically the green, yellow, red color scale, but there are other options. This one is nice because it uses a stoplight format. So if I select this one, we'll see that the higher the number, in this case sales, which is exactly what we would want, the greener it is. So as we look at this, we can already see that production line 1 has all the red. So financially it's doing the worst, whereas production line 2 has most of the green. So quick and easy way to go through and look at our data and look at trends of what's happening within our processes. And we can also look and see which months then have the most red or are doing the worst. So I'm going to go ahead and clear the rules from the entire sheet. So we've got a blank slate again. I'm going to go ahead and select our data range again, including the headers, and show you with conditional formatting, we can also use data bars. So data bars are a great way to then start showing the magnitude of it. And we've got different color options for each of these. I'm going to go ahead just because it stands out a little bit better and do the light blue bar. When I select that, I can look at the magnitude of each of these to see how it compares. And what's nice about it is it's looking at all the data within those cells to see where the biggest numbers are. And so we can see the biggest number is based off of that bar is 277,000. If I wanted to, I can also combine conditional formatting. So I've got my data bars, but I could also add in color scales if I wanted to. In some instances, that actually also might be harder to see. So you have to be very careful in terms of how you're showing your information. But in other instances, this might be very valuable to see because the bars are so small. So I'm going to go ahead and clear that formatting as well by clearing the rules. Another option that we have is, I'm going to select all my data, is we can also use rules. So maybe I want to highlight things that are greater than a certain value or less than a certain value or between a certain value or equal to. So let's say I want to look at values that are greater than, and in this case, the option came up as 139,000. Maybe I want to set it up that it's greater than 100,000. And then I can select as well how I want to highlight that information. I could do a yellow fill, green fill, light red fill, red text. I could do a red border. I could also do a custom format for this one. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a green fill because those would be very good months. So now it's selecting values that are greater than that. So I have my 5 values. I'm going to go ahead and clear that formatting as well and show you one other option. I can select all of my data again, and I could also then go to my cell rules, and maybe I want to find text that contains something. So in this data, we're mainly looking at numbers. However, if I was using a different data set and I was looking for a specific name or a specific region, maybe I've got a company that's across the United States and I want to highlight anything that's in the Northeast region. I could go through and then type in the Northeast region and I could fill it in with a certain color. In this case, we're going to go ahead and just do let's go ahead and change that to line 1. and it's going to go ahead and do a light red fill. So that would make that stand out. Again, that's typically more valuable when I've got text for my data values within that I'm looking for specific regions or I want things to stand out. But I've got quite a few ways that I can use conditional formatting to take my data and make it easier to glean information about what's showing within that data at a quick glance.